Continuing in Descartes' Meditations on First Philosophy using the Donald Kress translation published by Hackett, I think we can finally wrap up Meditation 2, and I'm renewing my resolution to not get so bogged down in this Descartes series and pick up the pace a bit. Let's see if I can wrap up Meditation 2 with very few words. Descartes says, "But what am I to say about this mind, that is, about myself? For as yet I admit nothing else to be in me over and above the mind. What, I ask, am I, who perceive this wax so distinctly? Do I not know myself, not only much more truly and with greater certainty, but also much more distinctly and evidently?" So, to review, he did a thought experiment, a little more than a thought experiment. He did an experiment with wax, which we went over in the last video. And at this point, he's established that he exists and that he is a mind, a thinking thing, and that matter is what is not thinking but occupies space, or is extended in the technical philosophical terminology. And he's determined that the mind is something that we know better than the body. Any physical thing is less easy to know than the mind, but also any possible knowledge you can have of physical things is inferior to the knowledge you can have of the mind. And it is, in fact, the mind and the mind only that can even know what matter is. We don't get knowledge of matter from our five senses, we get it from the mind. So, what am I to say about this mind, that is, about myself, etc., etc.? But lo and behold, I have returned on my own to where I wanted to be. For since I now know that even bodies are not, properly speaking, perceived by the senses or by the faculty of imagination, but by the intellect alone, and that they are not perceived through their being touched or seen, but only through their being understood, even physical things, he's saying, are known through the mind, not through the senses. I manifestly know that nothing can be perceived more easily and more evidently than my own mind. Nothing can be perceived more easily and more evidently than my own mind. The mind is more easily known and is the object of the better sort of knowledge than any physical thing. But, and here's the fun part of this video, if you're the right kind of nerd. But since the tendency to hang on to long-held beliefs cannot be put aside so quickly, I want to stop there, so that by the length of my meditation, this new knowledge may be more deeply impressed upon my memory. In other words, we still have habits of thinking in physical terms and prioritizing matter, prioritizing the physical world and not paying attention to non-physical reality, in particular the mind, in particular ourselves. We need to retrain our minds to focus on the mind, to understand the mind, to understand all these insights about how it's easier known and a greater form of knowledge, however difficult or easy it is, than the body. And the mind is the only thing that can even know physical things, and all knowledge comes from the mind, not from the five senses, etc., etc. All of these things must be learned, and it takes time to build the new habits of learning them and sticking with them. We have old habits of letting our minds sink down into physical modes of thinking, and we need to get past them, and we need to rehabituate ourselves, and that is an important theme of the meditations. Descartes is not only trying to discover these things and demonstrate these things, he's also trying to rehabituate his mind towards thinking in these more wise ways. And of course, he would like us, his readers, to have our minds rehabituated similarly. All right. Next time, I suppose, Meditation 3 on the existence of God. See you then.